Greetings once again, spacefaring adventurers. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with another chapter of Eden Zero, where previously the tale of Earth 20,000 years ago is finally being fully told, and how somehow the shining stars existed all that time ago, as Mother tells of her origin, previously known, still much to my shock, as the planet Earth. We hear a tale of how Valkyrie and Witch, very supportive of a sickly sister, were all women of industry, great in fields of science and law. They had met with Hermit, a young high school girl from Japan, who had come to Valkyrie to hopefully save the world, using a procedure that Clown, in this world a doctor for Sister, had developed in order to heal people with a natural energy called ether. The other girls hoped to use Sister's treatment to hopefully save the world. We also saw Shiki's birth, born to both witch and wizard, much to his shock, and it's kind of hilarious how we kind of swiftly moved away from that, because the end of days are nigh. The planet was coming to an end. So the question remaining is, how was Mother saved? Why is Shiki the only one to be able to have this question thrust upon him about whether or not Mother should live? And how exactly does that tie in to the lives of those who have died in alternate timeline? And how will this influence Shiki's final decision? Join me as I find out, won't you? Right, Eden Zero. Oh, he didn't read the chapter title. Oh, Eden Zero chapter 274. Earth's destruction. Oh, well then. Starting to get the feeling that Mother's existence might be a dubious one. No wonder Shiki has such a serious expression on his face. Alright, we pick up on Earth 20,000 years ago, where an earthquake literally tears a city street completely in half. Cars and people falling into the massively generated chasm. Gee, brutal. And we see the massive destruction that ripped through this city. God, this is a little next to nobody probably survived situation. You see volcanoes erupting. Full-on Pompeii-like situation as magma and fire spews across cityscapes as people run for shelter. Or a lack thereof. Yeah, because you see a aerial view. You see in one direction, everything's on fire. Another direction, everything's shaken to pieces. Another direction, everything's flooded. We hear a report saying, cataclysmic disasters are occurring all over the globe. Is this the long philosophized end of days? I mean, what do you think? We see Sister walking through the wreckage as she comes upon a person. It's Clown and his human guys buried under rubble. Sister calls out to him. She helps to pull him out, asking, "What are you doing here?" Clown says, "I was getting the patients to safety, and I guess I missed my own chance to escape." So weird that he was such a good person in the past. Were they all ultimately reprogrammed by Void? Is this their natural state? Clown tries to laugh it off, saying, "For goodness sakes, I'm so clumsy." Sister gives a smile, saying, "That's so like you." And as Sister has Clown wrap his arm around her shoulder, she helps get him to safety, saying, "Now it's my turn to save you." Clown says, "What? But Ivory?" Ivory interrupts him, saying, I don't know if it's possible to save anyone from all this, but Yuna's lab is nearby. We can take shelter there. We pick up in said Yuna's lab, where we see Brigadine sitting on a chair. As Valkyrie explains, so, the government never did authorize our proposal, a plan to send the Earth into overdrive. Any normal person would think you're out of your mind. Oh, it's Brigadine saying that. Hermit tells him, "This is a very logical plan, Mr. Howard." Howard? Well, Killer says, Dr. Yuna's theories are flawless. Brigadine tells him, "You don't need to convince me, kiddos. I'm just a surfer. I don't get all that eggheady, sciencey stuff, but I know that if Yuna says something, it's gotta be right." So this is how they all ended up in the same place. So what ends up happening to them? We see Witch, Wizard, and their little baby Shiki. As Wizard perks up, saying, "Now that you mention it, we don't really know how it works either." Witch gives a nervous smile, saying, "We think we've been helping, but it's all so complicated." complicated. Yeah, the whole group is there. Valkyrie tells the group, we take the Earth's ether to its critical point, which I believe will result in the Earth going into overdrive. While Sister asks an overdrive is, Valkyrie explains, saying, let's say it's a state of ether saturation. I predict that the Earth will change its shape, and for a while it will go into a sort of hibernation. During that time, the ether's self-purification effect should kick in, and that will put a stop to all of these natural disasters. A visibly worried Sister asks, and you said the government is against it? Yeah, why would they be against it, I wonder? Or maybe because they thought it would cause more harm than good? That's the only thing I could think of. Maybe conflicting data or something? Clown then notes, but if we don't do something, it could be the end of the world. Valkyrie then explains, I don't need the government's permission. I fully intend to go forward with this plan. I mean, look, in the current situation, I think the government's got more things to worry about than what you guys are up to, so I don't think they'll be able to stop you even if they wanted to. We see Hermit typing away at a computer saying, I've hacked into every organization and agency and set up the system to send the Earth ether out of control. Everything is in place and ready to go. So how do you do that exactly? How could you do that from a computer terminal? What is set up in such a way that it would cause you to be able to accelerate the Earth's ether? Because there has to be something set up around the world. Was it like something we were accessing around the planet to, maybe a new form of energy that we were using that was siphoning away life from the planet even more rapidly than it was before? Because I feel like we've not really been explaining fully how exactly you're able to, just you guys, more specifically Hermit, are able to cause the Earth to go into overdrive. Like, what are you accessing that's specifically allowing for this? That's my question here. Or is it just mumbo-jumbo science stuff, and we're just supposed to go along with it? I mean, I know that ultimately, that feels like we're getting caught up in the weeds of an explanation for something I maybe don't need that much of an explanation of, but I don't know. I feel like I want a little bit more of an explanation here. Maybe it's in the chapter, I don't know. Oh, yep, there it is. Oh shit. Clown says the Large Hadron Collider. I can't believe you hacked into that. Oh, right. I remember when it was being built, and there was a worry that it'd end up accidentally generating a black hole and consume the whole of Earth. Like, at one point, we just up and feel gravity shift in one direction, and that would be the end of it for us. So, what, like essentially do just that? Or is there some property for the Hadron Collider? Oh, the collision of hadrons, or hadrons, however you pronounce it. Huh. Oh, okay. That still doesn't feel like it fully explains that, but I have a little bit of an understanding to know what's going on here. I mean, I'm not that smart, let's face it. But Valkyrie sternly asks everyone, is everybody in? I mean, let's be frank. The only people who remotely even need to be in for this situation are Valkyrie, Hermit, and maybe Killer. But Brigandine smiles and says, I've never gone against you. I'm always ready to ride your wave. Aw. Hermit solemnly says, I believe that your logic is correct, Dr. Yuna. While Killer notes, let's save the world. Sister smiles, saying, I wouldn't even be here if you hadn't saved my life. I'll risk that life for you. While Clown questions, who cares about the law? We're saving humanity. Wizard gives a smile, saying, we want to give this little guy a future. And which notes? We're in. So we see into the dilapidated city square. Oh, yep, it's that moment with Ziggy when we saw him arrive all that time ago. So is this from when he first arrived? Or is it that he arrived back in Shiki's time, then traveled to Mother? No, he would have had to just simply time travel. Unless getting to Mother would just show him this, or Mother showed him this, like she's showing Shiki and the others now. Like another situation where I'm about to get my answers. Ziggy looks around saying, a dying planet. To think, instead of finding Mother, I would end up on this world of death. Ziggy then notices something, questioning life sign. He walks over to a large metal door, opening it up. Oh shit. So it failed? You see Brigandine, Valkyrie, Witch, Wizard, Killer, Hermit, Clown, Sister, either passed out or dead, while Witch cradles the crying baby Shiki, but she has a smile on her face though. Oh no. Shit. Ziggy sees the site noting human corpses. Hey, so they all died? He notices the child crying and says the life signs are from this baby. And he notes his tag on the baby as he picks the child up saying Sheik, and something about that name resonates in his head. Gee, imagine coming upon oh man, this just the implications of this scene alone. Shiki so far into the future, coming upon the dead bodies of not just his friends, but his family too, as well as his infant self, but not being able to recognize any of this. What the hell? Ziggy grabs his head, questioning, what is this I'm feeling? He holds out the baby, questioning, this baby, who is this child? And what happened to these humans? Suddenly, light starts emanating from the earth. Ziggy questions, what now? Now what? The ether is rising off the charts. And Ziggy cries out as he's enveloped in the energy and the light. So, did they succeed? But was it too late? They died trying to do it? I don't understand. So was it like the baby Shiki and Ziggy were the last living entities on Earth? Is that why Shiki has been given the choice? Because he was the last human still alive on Earth? Ziggy finds himself floating in some ethereal area. And we see it, the formation of Mother. As Ziggy looks on, he questions, what am I seeing? That's so odd. Why was the infant Shiki still alive though when everyone else died? Why is it that we have the shining stars and dark stars now if their counterparts completely died off? So Ziggy and Shiki were there at the beginning and technically at the end. I mean, okay, I don't know. I still don't understand it fully. And I kind of wish that the likes of like Rebecca and Shiki, who are watching all this go down, ask some questions. Because I'm like, look, I need y'all to answer a few things about what we just saw. Because the human witch, she was still smiling. Like she died trying to make sure Shiki's, the last thing Shiki saw of her was her smiling face. Even though Shiki, the Shiki we know has no memories of that. And I'm not talking about Ziggy. Still, God, my head. But how did they fail? How did it end up succeeding? Is it just that the process took too long? How much time passed between when they made the decision of what to do and then when Ziggy rolls up on, like, the site of multiple dead bodies? How did they end up dying? Because, yeah, it looks like maybe they got jostled around a lot and died in the process there. But their bodies look way too intact for that. I mean, I don't want to come upon, the gruesome carnage of blood everywhere, but it just feels like such a disconnect. Like, what killed them? How did they all die? And again, why was the infant Shiki the only one to survive whatever happened to them? And Ziggy definitely arrived on the Eden Zero, but the question now is, was his crew always the shining stars or something? And how did the dark stars come into play of that? He comes back with the shining stars, and then they, in another timeline, come upon Elsie and all that. And it does explain why maybe there's no records of how Ziggy got to Mother, because, I mean, let's face it, he didn't really go any conventional path. But that really does raise so many questions about what happens next, which, I mean, we'll see it happening now, but I still have so many questions in regards to how they died. That's kind of bugging me. I really hope Mashima answers that, because even when it comes to like, oh, you accessed a Large Hadron Collider, like, okay, but that's not really an explanation to anyone who's never heard of that before. Again, I know it would just be sciencey mumbo jumbo, but explain to me how that would cause the world to overdrive. The entirety of the world? Like, come on. Like, give me some BS explanation that the Hadron Collider was discovered to access ether and, just cranking it to an absurd degree, rerouting all planet in the surrounding area to it would cause a massive overload of ether, causing an overdrive. There you go. Just some BS explanation. That's all I need. I'm normally not this picky, but I feel like I need at least a little bit of flavor text to help me just kind of swallow that a little bit. Because even when it came to Void and what he is, you gave me enough information on that To whereas, even though I'm just like, that sounds like bull, I'm still willing to accept it because you at least gave some kind of explanation. It wasn't a great explanation, but it was an explanation. Oh no, I just hate the idea of just nitpicking without explaining why I'm nitpicking. So it just doesn't sound like I'm nitpicking for the sake of nitpicking, you know? Because otherwise, I am enjoying all of this. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy a lot of this. It's far out. It's trippy. It's wild. Like, I'm still kind of just loving where everything is going, just because of the fact that the whole mother revelation was just such a gut punch to me. Like, that, it would take a lot to go wrong in the finale of this series for me to hate it at this point, just because that revelation was like such a holy crap to me. But maybe someone else doesn't feel the same. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, eternally with a headache every time I finish a chapter of this series nowadays, because it feels like my brain is going into overdrive and failing at that because cannot comprehend, but still loving it regardless. And I want to hear from you. So until the next time, take care. Bye-bye.